everybody.
everybody. This is aka Heather Joy, and we've
And
got
I am Dr. K, Dr. Melissa Kalodner.
all right, and yeah, you guys aboarded the lifeboat. And before we get started, I just wanted to run through the rules we have here really quickly. The first one, please, guys, no politics. I didn't flash that very. There we go. No politics, please. Just don't talk about politics in the live chat in the comment section. It's just a little too triggering. We'll leave that to Tommy. He knows when it's appropriate. Anyway, the second one, please no overbearing religion. It's fine to say, hey, I'm going to pray for you, or statements like, I could not have found sobriety without my faith. Those are fine, but please don't shove your religious beliefs down one another's throats. Let's respect one another that way. The third one, please refrain from swearing in the comment section.
Oh, man.
Chat. I know. I slipped up once. We all do sometimes, but let's try to keep it clean. As Tommy always says, you can't control your mouth, you can't control your life. And I had never heard that until Tommy said that, and I like that. Anyway, number 4, no trolls. There's no room on this boat for mean people. If you're going to be mean, I'm going to toss you overboard. That's all there is to it.
I like that. Okay.
Or make you walk the plank, one or the other. But I hope you can swim if you're going to be mean, because that's all there is to it. Anyway, hey, and I have a really cool announcement.
Okay.
Charlie's wife, our Charlie Mullins, his wife just got the okay to come home from the hospital.
So that's great news, Charlie.
I know. It's awesome. All the prayers, they work. So cool.
That's great.
Really
I love
good news. We are happy for him. And what's my computer doing? Okay. Anyway, today, as you guys can see, we have Dr. K with us, which is really cool. And
I want to, if I can.
Yes, go ahead. I apologize.
I asked if I could.
Go for it.
I want to give a shout out. I have my niece and nephew watching, my brother Michael, and my, let's see, what are their names? No, I know. I want to say hi to Lucas and hi to Kaya. And they're in New Jersey right now at 8:00. One of them just got done football practice. The other one just got done working. So it was the perfect time. It's 8 for them, 5 for me. But have to say hi to my family. I love them very much.
Well, welcome, Michael. And I forgot.
And my brother's part of this boat too. So
sweet.
Yeah. He just keeps quiet.
All right, he's a lurker, huh? We like him.
Exactly.
We like him.
Chat, but he's on the site.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I gathered up some of the questions that you guys had been sending in, and I gave them to Dr. K, and she's going to answer them for us tonight. And Cat,
will try my best.
How do you make a cat do anything? This cat will not sit still.
No, forget it. That's why I love dogs. My dog is sleeping on the floor. Zoe is just sleeping.
Aww.
That's true. Well, I know someone had asked something about EMDR, which I am not in any way an expert on EMDR. It takes a lot of training.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like 20 hours of training over. They do one weekend, then another weekend, but you have to have clients that you do this with for 10 hours, like 10 clients, certain amount of hours. So I've been trained in it. I'm not certified. But I think the question was what kind of populations you use EMDR with. So the little bit I know, EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Did I do it right? EIM movement desensitization or reprocessing. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure. It was actually used for trauma, and that was originally what it was for, PTSD. And to this day, it's only about 30 years old. But they started doing this. I think it was Dr. Shapiro that started doing this, and I've got so much going on in my head. I'm trying to think. So I'm going to turn away the chat because I thought it would be good to have the chat on, and it's not. It's distracting me. I know the two populations you don't, bipolar and any kind of personality disorder.
Uh-huh.
I can understand personality disorder. I'm not sure why you can't use it with bipolar.
Hmm.
Don't can't answer that. I can just tell you that's what the research says.
Uh-huh.
The reason a lot of psychologists don't use it is because there's not much research. But the research
Okay.
that's there is great. So the thing is, there's about 30 articles published in reputable journals saying that EMDR is anywhere from 85 to 100% effective after 8 sessions. People get rid of their PTSD, veterans, rape victims, rape survivors. It,
That's
but
huge.
there's only 30. Like I'm cognitive behaviorist, CBT, there's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of articles. So, but it's interesting. When it first came out, there's different things, but just so people know, and if you're an EMDR specialist, don't get mad at me. I'm probably doing it wrong. But they collect your history. The person that you're talking to has to be a licensed clinician. So they either have a master's or a doctorate. And they tell you to think about a trauma. So I did this myself to help a colleague. And I did it for a car accident that I was in.
Uh-huh.
I was driving down in where I used to live in Brigantine, New Jersey, going over the bridge. And a woman, 79 years old at the time, I think I was 24, made a left in front of me in a Lincoln town car. And
Ooh.
I was in a little tiny, I got to remember, we're talking, I think it was a 1987 Honda Civic.
Oh
Do you
goodness,
remember
we
the
have
really
no
cool lights?
chance over a Lincoln Town
I
Car.
had the one that the really cool lights came up and down, So she just made the left right in front of me. I was going like, well, the speed limit was 50. I was probably going 50, 55.
Mm-hmm.
And hit her, the car spun around. So I was having PTSD for years. Like I'd be driving, and if someone even looked like they were going to make a left
Uh-huh.
in front of me, I would get terrified. I'd pull over. So I had a colleague who was training for EMDR. I said, "Oh, take me." And what she did was she said, "Think about the car accident." And she put a finger in front of me and told me to track her finger. And literally, it looks stupid, but this is really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Track my finger. And as we're doing that, and my eyes are moving, which we scientists believe because it looks like REM sleep, we're hitting that part of the brain where we process information.
Okay.
And so while you're doing this, which is just like, REM sleep where your eyes move, I was thinking about the car accident.
Uh-huh.
And then the therapist guides you. But look how strong you are. You don't need to worry about that anymore. So
Oh
you start
wow.
getting positive thoughts. And one session, not two, I did two with her. The first one was really history taking.
Uh-huh.
I did 2 sessions with her. The PTSD was gone. I
Wow.
mean, I'm serious. I still think about the accident, but I'm not triggered when I'm on the road or frightened. And I was to the point where I was having a hard time driving. So
Wow.
take it as you want. I mean, a lot of people don't like it because there isn't a lot of research, but the research that's out there says, I mean, one study said it was 100% effective on
Wow.
veterans. That's amazing to me.
That really is. That's I know my youngest sister did it, and she did it. She used just very negative beliefs that she had grown up with for so long that they
Yes,
were just really ingrained, and that's what she worked on. And she said, each session that she would go in, they would just work on one belief. And
that's
she
right.
said it just blew her mind after, doing the
Yeah,
redirection and, the reprocessing, the whole thing, that she sat there just marveling that she was blown away because it all of a sudden she could see that thought that she'd had about, the belief about herself that she held for her whole life just didn't make sense anymore. And she
yeah.
thought, why was I even thinking that? So I really want to find somebody that um, can do it around
You
here.
know, I actually found a website.
Uh huh.
Oh, it's super easy, emdr.com.
Oh, okay.
And that is the EMDR Institute. And you can find a clinician for free on there. They'll help you find it in whatever state you're in. It's emdr.com. So
Okay.
EMDR Institute. And they have each section starts off with for clinicians, and then skip through that. And then it says for clients, or what is the word they use? For lay people. Okay, whatever. There's one other population, and at first I read it wrong. It said you cannot use this with people actively using drugs. And I read it wrong. I thought, wow, so if I'm, this is what Lifeboat's all about. If I'm have an addiction, I can't use this modality. Well, I reread it, and I think what they were saying was, don't come to hide your session.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
You don't want to be messing around with your brain when you're on drugs and doing this kind of therapy. So that made sense. But I don't know. I hope that answers that person's question. That's a little bit I know. So I've had the training. I've never gone all the way through to get my credentialing. I just wanted to know enough about it. So it's not a modality that I use in therapy.
Yeah, I've been curious. I actually started looking into, what it would take to get the training myself, but I don't have a master's, so I would have to do that first. I was just curious what it would take, but
Well,
I mean, if I finished my master's in nursing, or or
well, it
English,
says licensed to work on your own. Couldn't that be RN?
From what I understood when I had looked into it, I needed to have a master's in.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought too.
So I was just curious, but my husband is actually looking into it right now for himself and for one of his kids.
Well, check that website out, because that is the place where Dr. Shapiro, I keep saying his, and I apologize, her site. And you can find all the information there.
Cool. Well, thank you. Yeah.
And I know there were other questions. I can't look at the chat. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. So
let me see. I will look here. Let's see if let me check here if I have missed anything. I haven't been paying attention.
I think I wasn't there another question about, and let me look. Birth order.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, you had said. Okay, so can you explain the question, or do you want me to read what you sent? Or
trying to remember, what did I let's see. Well, someone had asked about birth order. What does it mean? What characteristics do your birth order give you? If you're a firstborn, a middleborn, or or later born, that was the start of it. I'm trying. Let me look.
Okay. This is what's interesting. So when I went to school, I was trained that the first child is the smartest child, the most responsible. If there's 3 children in the family, the middle child is kind of the one that acts out because they're not getting attention, and the youngest child is the spoiled brat. That's usually how it works. But that research, so it wasn't research, excuse me, that came out by Alfred Adler in 1909. So we're talking a long time ago.
Oh, a lot. Adler, huh? I didn't realize
so
that.
Adler was having conversations with Freud and Jung. So I can't imagine the 3 of them hanging out. Okay.
They were probably all high.
He's doing his coke. Freud was a big cocaine addict. But whatever. So there's a lot of talking, I guess. And Adler said that this birth order thing makes sense, and he started treating people. Oh, what's your birth order? So, like, I'm the firstborn. My brother's the secondborn, but there's only 2 of us. Mm-hmm. So it's just interesting. But here's the reality, guys. Adler said this in 1909. This was his thing that he did. But the truth is, the research doesn't support it. The research says there is no difference whether you're born first, second, third, eighth. There is none. Okay. The only thing that is constant in the research, and of course I love it because I'm a firstborn.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, so we're going to love this one. We're going to stick with this. The research says that firstborn tend to have 3 to 5 point higher IQs than their younger siblings.
I don't
And
believe that in my family. I'm the
oh,
dumb
I,
one.
so I'm sure my brother's cursing me out right now. Uh,
Love it.
but it's interesting. They think it's because the mother and father doted more as the first child. They want to make sure everything's okay, by the third or fourth, whatever.
Yeah.
I that's the theory anyway. So I don't know, but when I looked up birth order, it's something fascinating. There's stuff on YouTube. If you plug in birth order psychology, all these really cool articles come up. But the bottom line, it's not based on research. It's just something Adler, Freud, and Jung in a bar came up with. And
I had no idea it went back that far.
yes,
Oh my goodness.
and Adler said, "Hey, this is mine." Jung, you've got that repressed, the unconscious memories and all that kind of stuff. Freud, you've got your sexual stuff going on. Let me have it. So they
to
gave
be a
it to
fly on the
Adler.
wall during that conversation would have been really fun.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall who spoke German. I would have loved that. Great. So,
Oh my goodness.
but the characteristics that people do talk about is that the firstborn is usually autonomous, is very responsible. I mean, none of this is true. The middle child, like I said, rebels. And we're talking, usually they do a family of 3. And then the third child, they usually describe as spoiled or babied. So we can all look back on our family, if you have 3 or more, or look at families we know. And yes, they fit sometimes, but they don't in others. So across nationalities, across countries, across families, there's really no difference.
Okay.
But I needed to research that because I haven't researched that in a while. I wanted to see what the new research was. And that's what it is.
Interesting.
That helps that person. I know that was that question. And then there was something about repressed memories.
Yeah. Let me see.
That's a really hard thing to talk about. It's a hard. Some people don't believe in repressed memories. They think the psychologist actually, or the therapist, is putting the thought in your head.
My family actually told me that. Yeah, when I first came out with all the crap that had gone on in my family, all of my siblings went against me and said, "Oh, you're full of it. It's the doctor you're seeing. That she just put it in your head, or it was he at the time." But yeah, and I was so mad because I knew darn well that I could remember.
If it's a trained, if you have a trained psychologist or doctor with you that's doing therapy, putting the memory as a repressed memory, they're ad-libbing while you're talking about it. I mean, we do shut off trauma. That's how our brain deals with trauma. So we shut it off.
Yeah.
And then as we get older, we use drugs to self-medicate. And for the people in the lifeboat that are living sobriety right now, I am living sobriety. I'm feeling again. I'm having those thoughts and I'm remembering things. So I do believe in repressed memories. And again, EMDR is excellent. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay. Those are your 2 go-tos that you want to ask your therapist. But those really help. I don't know of any medication that helps. Have you ever heard of that with repressed memories?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah. My husband right now, he went through a lot of similar stuff that I went through growing up. His sisters, they all remember it. In fact, one of his sisters is a psychologist as well. And they remember all this stuff. And my husband, he's struggling and having all of these symptoms and he's, all these struggles, but he can't remember. And they sit down with him and they say, "Don't you remember this, or the day mom did this, or the day this happened?" He doesn't remember any of it, but yet he's still got all of the side effects from the trauma.
That's how remember. It's amazing what the brain does. The brain protects him. Whatever trauma was going on was too much for him. So
Mhm.
his body literally, think about dissociation. He could have dissociated at that moment, which is why there's no memory, meaning he wasn't there in the room. He was up on the ceiling,
Mhm.
not literally, just in his mind.
Yeah.
Or his brain didn't let him process the trauma, so he has no memory of it, but he has all the side effects of it, or all
Mhm.
the symptoms of it.
Yeah. It's
And
driving him crazy right now, and he's looking into EMDR right now to try to
yeah,
find some help for it because he's just at his wit's end right now,
yeah,
and it's
that must be awful to say, and then to say it, and someone says, that didn't happen.
yeah.
Come on, um, you know, I don't know. I'm thinking of repressed memories, and they've done it with kids where the therapist has gotten a thought in their head that they've been sexually abused when they haven't.
Mhm.
Um, the famous case from 1970s in California, where a whole daycare, all these kids
Oh,
came out and said that there was a satanic ritual, and people were being killed and
yeah,
animals slaughtered, and they were
tunnels
being
under the
sexually abused on a bus, and none of this happened.
yeah,
These
that was
people, their lives were taken from them. I mean, teachers who were people considered pedophiles and satanic cult stuff, and none of it happened.
yeah,
So you have to be
that's
careful.
crazy.
And
Oh,
kids, especially, want to please people. So you have to learn how to ask the question. They
yeah,
don't come out and say, "Were you sexually abused?" Because they're going to say yes, because they want to please you. You have to learn how to say it without saying it, and that would take forever to explain. But that's how I was trained. You don't ask the question. You can't. Because most kids are going to say yes, and then they'll create a story that matches what they think the adults want to hear. And that's trauma all over again.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the chat here.
And hi to Miss V and hi Virginia. You guys are always saying hi to me and Zenwin and Charlie. Always
We
there's so many people. James is new. We've been communicating.
I know we've got a lot of new people. This is awesome.
Seventh son. We've got new people coming from and the Scientology stuff is pretty
Scientologists, yeah,
amazing as well.
yeah. Let's see. I'm not seeing any. You guys, if you have a question for her, please just stick question at the beginning in big letters so I can see it. Let's see. I don't.
But we had
I start paying attention to what you're saying, and I'm not listening.
oh,
Watching
sorry.
the chat.
Well, I was gonna say we had somebody yesterday, I believe, that has 5 days sober, and I just wanted congratulations.
That's
That's
awesome.
fantastic. It's to me, day 3, 6, and 10 are the hardest. Day 3 physically, day
Mhm.
6 mentally,
Mm.
day 10 everything, and then it comes
Mm.
together. So if you're on day 5 yesterday, day 6, today might be the day you cry all day and you don't know why. That's your body as you were using for however many years you were using. Now your body's getting those feelings out. So I remember I just cried on day 6. Just cried, cried, cried. And then finally you get past that. So stick in there. The hardest part is day 3 is the hardest part of getting off a substance. So that person's already past that.
Let's see. There's someone who's okay. Yeah, there's 6 days now. Yep,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
today. It's um SCHL number 4.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it. I remember the 4, but congratulations.
I know
That's great.
that's awesome. Keep coming and stick with it. It's not easy at first, but it's worth it.
It's
It
worth it.
is.
It's
It's
rewarding.
definitely.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I think there was some more questions, or at least I thought. Let me
I
look.
don't know.
Um, let's see. I could have sworn. Oh, TRE. Are you familiar with trauma release exercises?
No.
I started looking into it. It is.
Wait. Hold on. Are we talking about almost yoga moves, but they're to physically help the trauma come out of your body?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, I do know about it.
Yeah, where
Very little,
people
not enough
will,
to talk about
there's
it.
a bunch of different exercises that you can do, but then you have to work through it in a specific process. But then at the end, hopefully you get this release. When an animal, like say a deer, gets hit by a car and it
Right.
kind of rolls it, but it doesn't injure it. They stand up and they start to tremble just
Oh,
violently, and you
wow.
feel bad for them. Or when you see, when your dog or your cat
What I
gets
was thinking of, a
rattled
dog or an animal, yeah.
from, yeah, I mean, that's how nature gets rid of trauma and stress. They release it from their body. They
Mhm.
kind of work through it and get rid of it. And there's a doctor, I'm trying to remember what his name is, that has come up with this, and he's been throughout the world, places where there have been lots of civil war and death, lots of
Mhm.
places in Africa, lots of soldiers, people that have been through all kinds of trauma and that have PTSD, and he's been able to help large groups of people.
Oh,
Um, and they are able to get rid of all of their trauma symptoms just by doing this release.
I know a
Um,
little bit about it, but not enough to talk about it, but that's wonderful. I love how we're coming, when I trained a million years ago, it was all about the mind. And I
mhm.
always said, what about the body? And now we're doing a mind body. We're having more of an Eastern collection of thoughts, and
Yeah,
I love where things are headed. Um,
I do too.
Meditation, how can they not be linked? They have to be.
Yeah.
So,
And the
yeah,
nice thing is there's so many different things that you can choose from now to,
yeah,
if you've got trauma from your past, there's a wide array of things you can choose from, different modalities you can use, you can try, if one doesn't work, maybe something else will, because, something
yeah,
isn't, I don't think there's always the perfect answer, the one answer for everybody,
no, yeah,
and so it's really nice that's available now. There's some really interesting
it is.
things coming out, and I agree. And it can
Yeah,
only help us as addicts. That can
that's
only help
right.
us. So
It's only there, it's just, and as we're doing more research, we're gonna know what works, what doesn't, and we're
yeah,
gonna apply it. One of these days, maybe if you guys want, we could do like a meditation where you sit and close your eyes, and it's a guided meditation where I put on my radio voice, my street radio, and I talk you through relaxing your body and your feet, and it's amazing. Progressive relaxation really helps my pain in my back. Really helps. I need that.
I've done a few just guided meditations, but I haven't done the progress with the boat. But I haven't done any
Yeah.
progressive relaxation. We need to
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah, you could start with your toes. I like to start with top of my head and just slowly guiding. I usually do heat from the sun down your body, and it
Ooh,
makes my back feel better because it's almost like I had a heating pad on, even though I didn't. I
huh?
tell my brain to picture a light coming
Uh
in on
huh.
my back and making it feel warm in the pain. As I breathe in pain and I breathe out relief.
Ooh, I need to
It-
do that tonight because my back's driving me nuts.
yeah, that's the other thing, especially, if you have an addiction to any of the opiates, we're left with pain. It's not
Yeah,
physical pain. So
but it
that's
hurts just the same.
that's right. And it's like, I can't use that drug of choice because I know how bad it is for me, but it did help me when I had pain. And the pain is still there. And now how do I deal with that? And you really have to learn specific exercises so that you don't use drugs. And I rarely take a Tylenol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's rare. They pulled my tooth a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I took one. I
Ooh,
took Tylenol and ibuprofen at the same time. They did some new studies that say a regular dose of Tylenol mixed with a 400 milligram dose of ibuprofen
ibuprofen.
actually causes as much pain relief as a 10 milligram Percocet without the high, the stuff that's addictive.
Yeah, that's what my oral surgeon told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me to do the same thing, and I went,
Oh,
"Wait a minute."
that's where
I
I
said,
learned
"I
it
my
from. Yeah.
kidneys can't handle that, but other people need to know that, you know?"
Yeah, yeah, you have to be super careful. But if you're taking a small little dose, and so people know that you can really make a difference with other medications that aren't going to have those addictive dependent properties.
Yeah, it's so important. And oh, and hey, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be doing a show. Hopefully, you guys just if you tune in the morning, wear your sweatpants because we're going to sit on the floor and we're going to do some stretching and some strengthening
Really?
exercises. There's I go to a pain specialist, for my fibro and just all of the issues that come with it.
Yeah.
And my the PA that works at the office gave me a packet of exercises and first it starts out with stretches and then there's a couple of different exercises, but it's mostly just it's nothing that requires a lot of strength. It's not going to hurt you, but it teaches your neck muscles and your back muscles to relax, and it strengthens your core
Oh, my
so
shoulders
that,
are always so tight. My
yeah.
shoulders and neck.
And,
Oh,
and
I'll tune in.
carry, everybody
5
carries
a.m. I'll get up
all of
early.
that stress through here. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so this is supposed to, if you do them a couple of times a week, it really helps your pain. And that's something I think, all of us, as addicts that, we need to stay away from these addictive substances. And so anything we can do that's going to help alleviate some of that pain. Oh,
That'd be
oh,
great.
somebody, we got a question here from Teresa. How many milligrams of Tylenol? She was asking about.
Oh, 500 milligrams. So they're 250 milligrams. And I'm not a medical doctor, blah, 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 all of that. But this is what the surge,
Is
they
it
told me. Oh, look,
this
7
here's
cents.
1,000 of Tylenol and 400 of ibuprofen? Is that?
At least what the doctor told me, and the
Mhm.
research I read was 500 milligrams of acetaminophen. And 7
Okay.
Sun, you're right. You could take that. And some people like 400. I do better with 800 milligrams ibuprofen.
Mm.
So that's called a doctor's dose. So what he's talking about is the doctor's dose of
Uh-huh.
acetaminophen. But usually it's 500 um, Tylenol, acetaminophen, and 400 ibuprofen.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, 7 Sun. Boy, didn't crack a joke.
I know.
I saw his name up. I'm like, oh, what are you going to say now? I can't take it.
Let's see. Did I miss anything? I haven't been paying attention. I do that all the time. I
No,
get
that's
so
okay. And I don't,
into other things that I
yeah,
forget what's going on around me. I'm terrible
I
that
don't
way.
know, but it's up to people. If people want me to talk about pain psychology, and I did that for 2 years at a doctor's office, working with people to
Oh,
help
really?
alleviate their pain.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
yes.
can talk about how pain, what are the psychological and physiological effects of pain, and how do we maybe not stop it, but make it so it's not so much in our heads. I'm using this as blinders, and that
Yeah,
we can see the world in our pain.
I
Usually, when
know.
we're in pain, all we see is pain.
Hmm.
So, if people would like to talk on that, I could do that sometime. I just want to be here to, answer any questions, give Tommy a break because he's probably overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Sure. And if
I
you've emailed him, he will get back to you. He always does. But if he's
oh, and
getting
I put
hundreds of
your
emails a day,
I put your email in the
oh, I
description
saw
box
that.
of this
Thank
video.
you.
So you guys, she's in there, and we can start posting that. Charlie is so good. He always posts everybody's
I
emails, and
love that.
make
Yeah.
sure yours is up there too. And yeah,
Yeah.
I really think we should do a show on pain psychology. If you could do that, that would be fabulous, because I know there are a lot of people on here that suffer from fibromyalgia and other chronic pain conditions,
Okay.
and it's you need
I
to
will
know how
do
to
that.
deal with it,
I will.
because
Yeah.
yeah. And if you've had 2 years of experience doing that too, that's fabulous. That's
Yeah, they wanted to call a psychologist in to work with the pain management doctors, but I'm not going to name where I worked, and I'll tell you why. Because what happened was they would come and see me,
hmm
and I'd like to think it was me and them, not just me, but
hmm
us together would figure out how they could do without pain medicine.
hmm
So therefore, the physicians lose patients.
Oh, we need you here at this one because it takes. I have trigeminal
They would
neuralgia
get
in my
mad.
face. That's the suicide disease. You know how serious that one is when it hits you. People will kill themselves. Oh, I shouldn't say. Oh, here I say. I just blew this. Sorry, Tommy. I just ruined this video. Sorry, YouTube. But they call that's what they call it because it's that bad. And I can't. If I have that going on, I have to wait 6 weeks to get in there. 6 weeks. They are so overloaded where I am. We need somebody to take a load off of.
Okay, well, I'm about to get my SciPact license, which is in 39 states, including Utah,
Oh, really?
Arizona. I will definitely help out there, fly out once a
Yeah.
month or something, because there are things you can do.
Yeah. I
Not
seriously
everybody
I
has
need
a
to.
problem with pain medicine, but for those of us that do, there's things we can do. Sorry, thirsty I'm about to cough.
And
Yeah.
there are a lot of other things they can do for you at a
Yeah.
pain clinic if you can get in. I know
Yeah, if you can get in, my gosh, to me
it's
that's an
hard.
emergency.
From I hear it's months. Some people have to wait up north where I am in Utah, but there are a lot of things that they can do. Trigger point injections.
Ah,
There's there, nerve blocks. There's all
I
kinds
was
of
going to
different.
say the nerve blocks are the best for me. They block at L4, L5, and S1,
Mm,
and it makes a huge difference. And then after about a year, I can feel the nerve growing back, but that's made a huge difference.
yeah, my mother depends on that.
Yeah.
She has like a standing appointment now. Where she
Okay.
goes in every couple of months just to get.
Yeah.
She has a nerve block and she has trigger point and I'm trying to remember what else, but yeah, there's
Orals, all that stuff is really helpful. So
it
once I get
is.
insurance, I'll do it again. No
Yeah.
insurance right now, but I'll have
Oh,
it soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of alternatives to just to opiates, and then and things like meditation and mindfulness, relaxation. I mean, there's so many other things when you add them all together, they really
Yeah.
do make a difference, and they don't remove all the pain, unfortunately, but they make it so you can get on with your life,
Function?
you know which is
Yeah.
what I couldn't cope when I first came down with, when I was first diagnosed with
Yeah.
fibromyalgia. I couldn't function. I was
Yeah.
a literal couch potato, and it took a long time to figure out the things that worked for me. And I
Yeah.
was willing to try too. Like I did my research and I tried almost everything I could
Right.
find. I thought, I'm going to at least try it and see.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are other things you can do. You don't have to, if you've got chronic pain, it's not. Don't be discouraged by it. There are things you can do.
Oh, yeah, there are.
Be willing
Absolutely.
to try things and do your research, and
Yeah.
everybody wants the quick fix. At least my mother. I trying to get her, like, my husband and I have a wonderful massage
Plastic surgery.
therapist, and she's not pleasant. Like, you go into a massage, it's not a pleasant massage.
I was gonna say, when I
People
get a
count
massage,
down.
it's not foo-foo.
Yeah,
I mean, they're deep
yeah.
muscle, and
Ours
every
will.
person always says to me, "Your back and shoulders are so tight." Well, no blank. That's why I'm here to see you.
Yep. Well, mine will count down from 10. Like, she'll be digging in, and I will be screaming, and she will count down from 10 so that I know when the pain's going to end. And I go home absolutely wiped out and miserable. But the next day, I'm so good,
Yeah.
But I can't convince my mom to try any of these things. She just wants the quick fix, the pain. She wants to take a pill and have the pain gone.
It's part of
And
that generation too. It really is. You listen to
yep.
doctors, MD equals my deity. I always say they always think the doctor
Yes.
knows best. No. Sometimes you know better than the doctor. That's why we have to be informed patients and
Mm-hmm.
clients. So we know what's going on.
Yeah. That is that I've noticed that the older generation, they put all their faith and their trust in physicians, and
Yeah.
they don't bother to get a second opinion. If they just put up with whatever they're told, and even if they have what I would consider unacceptable side effects from medications and things, they put up with it, and you're
Yeah.
like, why?
Yeah. Well, the doctor said, The doctors
Yeah, but doctors are human, and
yeah,
they make mistakes, and some of them aren't.
that's right.
There are just like just like people. There's good, there's bad, and you can
Right.
find both with physicians too.
That's true. That's
And
absolutely true. Yeah. How long do you, if you don't mind me asking, when were you diagnosed with fibromyalgia? How long have you had that
2017.
diagnosis?
I'd had the symptoms for, I don't know, for a few years, but they just got progressively worse. And I kind of in the back of my head thought, oh no, this is what it's going to be. And I just kept pushing it away because I didn't want to face it.
Yeah.
But I finally thought, you know what, it's not doing me any good ignoring it. So
Well, then I have a question. It'll really help me.
Mhm.
Years ago, we thought people with fibromyalgia were just histrionic.
That's what
Histrionic
I used to think.
personality disorder, that they're making it up to get attention. And well, it's just a little pain, but they're making it out like it's this huge thing. And
Okay.
the medical community would often feel that way and put that on the patient. Oh, hey, then when? Okay, but anyway, I was going to say
No, go
with
ahead.
that, I hope it's changed. I hope it has.
It is beginning to. The PA that I go to, he about 7 years ago, he went to a conference in Vegas, medical conference down there,
Yeah.
and it was specifically the one that he chose to go to that day was fibromyalgia. And the physicians that were speaking there said, asked the audience, it was all physicians and physician assistants, nurse practitioners, and they were asked, how many of you believe that fibromyalgia is an
A
actual
real
thing, that
disorder.
it's not. Yeah. And there were maybe out of like about 500 people, there were about 5 people, my PA was one of them, that raised his hand. And but it is beginning to change. The older
Good.
doctors, there are some of them that still, and some of the older nurses, even nurses that trained with me, still think that there's nothing to it. And oh, it makes me so mad because
Okay.
but it
I'll
is
bet.
beginning to change. It is. And
Good. That's good to
yeah,
hear.
the
So
younger.
what's up, Zenwin?
Oh yes.
Hi. I'm just popping on because Kelly's been trying to ask a question in chat.
I'm
Oh,
not
So I
looking at
wanted
the
to
chat. I can't do
put your
both.
attention to it.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
What does it say?
Yeah, she's asking about what do you think about ayahuasca for treatment? But I'll let you read it in the chat because I'm not sure the specifics.
Okay. Zen, I thank you so much for doing
You're
that.
welcome.
I cannot have my ADHD is so bad that when I'm talking and then I cannot look at the chat because I get involved in the chat.
I totally get it. I totally get it. But I was just, she'd been asking and everybody's going, hello, question. So I thought I'd jump on and let you know, and I'm going to take off again. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Love you.
Well,
Bye.
Love you guys. The ayahuasca one. Well, let me get to this one. So Kelly asked,
yeah, there's
I'm still using, how long before I can start Suboxone from last use? So you're the medical side here, but I could tell you what I remember. It was 19 hours. And the reason they came up with that is there's a scale called COWS. Isn't it COWS? COWS. You can look it up online.
I'm trying to remember. The last physician I spoke with said if you can try to go 24 hours between when you last used and then when you start, because you'll go into precipitous withdrawal, and that is hell.
No, that's awful.
You want to do that.
You want to have medium symptoms of discomfort. And that's usually 19 hours is sufficient. That's what the pain doctors that I worked with said. 24 would be great, but some people can't stand that.
Yeah, that is pushing it. But that was the last physician I spoke with said if you can go that long, that's what he likes to see. But
if you can look online, you'll find a scale called COWS, COWS, and it's for example, it says I'm yawning, and you rate that 0 to 5. So if you're doing a lot of yawning, your eyes are watering, you have diarrhea, your stomach is hurting.
The muscle spasms are starting to kick in.
The restless leg, you can't sleep, the anxiety. If those are reaching not severe, but moderate too severe. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is like the worst withdrawal ever. You should be at like a 7. And research says that's between 12 and 19 hours, but 19. So that's when you should start Suboxone, when you feel really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you will, but look up that COWS test, because that's what
Yeah.
doctors are going to give you to tell you when to take Suboxone.
Let's see. I'm looking for Kelly.
So hopefully that answered Kelly's. The ayahuasca one, if people are asking,
I think I don't know. I'm personally terrified of the ayahuasca, but I've done ketamine therapy. But let's see.
My hippie tie-dye person, I've never done it, but I've seen shows where people have taken ayahuasca one time and they've quit heroin. They've quit drinking.
That's what I've heard.
I think hallucinogenics are fantastic. I don't think fantastic. Oh, how do I word that? I think it's pretty fascinating. Can we put it that way? Because they're coming out with studies now where they're giving people ketamine, and it's assisted one time to help them get off of opiates or benzos. The ayahuasca, everybody vomits though. That's the worst.
That's why I am already, if I even think about certain things, I can throw up. So that, I think about ayahuasca, I think, no, thank you.
But they are coming out with, and Nova did a great show on the use of, if you look it up, it's the use of psychedelics in therapy. And they use magic mushrooms, psilocybin, in a pill. They give it to people, and after 3 sessions, trauma's gone. They only did it in PTSD. The PTSD is gone. So I'm fascinated. I've been to workshops on it, and eventually, when ayahuasca and these treatments become available, I'm going to get my license to do it. I think it is going to be fascinating. I think my only thing with ayahuasca is I would start with the research, and most research has been done on psilocybin magic mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So Harvard and Stanford are doing studies on psilocybin to decrease depression. We're talking one time or once every 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. I think it's a really good thing. But ayahuasca, everybody vomits. They tell me that's the worst. But they come out of it and they're off their addiction.
I've heard that it's like 2 years of therapy, like done like that, though, after the experience. And so but I don't know. I don't know.
When psilocybin becomes available and they start doing research around me, I want to get involved. I think that drug can do good for people.
Yeah, that's
and anyone who's taken hallucinogenic, depending on your mind, and I know, I just think it's amazing, the research. So, Kelly, I hope that answers your question. I think it's a good thing. Research is kind of out there on ayahuasca. But yes, I've heard it's amazing as well. I have had patients go to the study in Stanford and have done psilocybin for depression and PTSD. And I had 2 patients who have done ketamine. The ketamine, the 2 patients said the ketamine did not help them. The over a dozen people that I've talked to that have done psilocybin say it was absolutely amazing. But first they're trying psilocybin, so we'll see.
The ketamine that I did. Oh, Seventh Son, thank you so much for that. He was trying to let us know too. He's stuck. Boy,
I feel bad. I just can't look at both. I don't know how to do it.
I'm sorry, guys. I always get so sucked into the conversation that I don't pay attention. Hey, quiet girl. I haven't seen you around in a little bit. Here she is today. I'm glad to see you.
Hopefully she's doing well, getting off for her medicine.
Let's see. I've talked to my sister-in-law. I actually went to nursing school with her. She and I both, have struggled with depression our entire lives.
Me too.
And so you understand that. And she did. It's been maybe 7 years ago now, she did ketamine therapy in office, where she
Yeah,
went in and
that's what
had
they
it
do.
done intravenously, but she just went in, they gave it to her, they monitored her, and she went home. And she hated it, and it was just an endurance
Yeah,
thing
no, I have
to
not heard
get
anything
through it.
positive, although
And
that special on Nova does. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The special on Nova made it look like ketamine was wonderful, but
mhm.
psilocybin has the best research. Ayahuasca, they have not started that I know of studies in the United States. It's usually you have to go out of the country to do it.
Well, the one that the way that I did the ketamine therapy, and it worked really well for me, and I think
You
I'm going
did?
to pick it up again. But I went through a company that did it. It's out of Vegas. It's called Better You, and you do it at home. They send you.
What?
There's a lot of things you have to. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through first, and it's only available in certain states. But it worked for me. But you have to do a lot of journaling. You have to do a lot of work along with it. And every time you do a session, you do it at home. They give you these little trokes that you put inside your mouth, and it's absorbed in through your cheeks and your gums. But you go in with a purpose and an intent, and you're trying to work through things, and
But
you have
by
to journal
yourself?
before you do it. After, I mean, it's a whole, I mean, you are doing work. It's not just going in and laying there and having them give you the medicine. You're doing work. And for me, it worked. It got rid of. I used to not be able to travel, drive myself further than maybe 2 hours at a time. And after I was done with, I did it for, I think, 4 months, and I was able to drive out when Tommy was in Reno. I was able to drive out there. It's a 9-hour drive, and I had no
Wow.
problem driving out there. That my pain was my chronic pain, had improved so much that I could actually do that.
Wow. I'm in
Improved.
Vegas. I didn't know that place.
I mean, it's a lot different than just going into an office and them giving it to you. I mean, you're actually doing work with it, and to me, that makes sense. You know, and I think that's why a lot of people don't have a good experience with it, because there's nothing behind it. You're just going
Yeah,
and taking a drug. You're not. There's no purpose behind what you're trying to do,
right.
and I've been putting them off. I've been wanting to do a show on my channel with the guy, the head physician at Better You wants to. I've been meaning to do a show with them about it on my channel so people can learn a little bit more about it. Because for me and for a lot of the people that work there, that the people that work there have been patients, and they all have had some incredible experiences. I mean, I've had some mind blowing experiences, and I found it extremely healing, and it made me feel so whole. It was good.
Is it
I
expensive?
mean,
I'm sure they don't take insurance.
it was 400 a month.
Okay.
Um, but I have insurance, that an HSA card that covers it, so
Okay.
it wasn't a big deal for me. But I think that was reasonable.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got another. Here's Jen.
Okay. Hey, Jen.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hey, so I'm Goosebump 801. My name is Jen, and hi, everybody. I just
Hi.
wanted to come on quickly and say to Dr. K, I did ketamine-assisted psychotherapy also and found it very helpful.
Oh,
I
cool.
did it in a clinic, but I did the sublingual lozenges like Heather was describing.
Mm.
Um, they they I the clinic I went to, I think, followed all of the research from what I could read about how to do it. I had, I don't know, 10 or 12 sessions leading up to it, um, trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to work on or think about during the session. And so I went in, I was really well prepared. I knew what to expect. Um, and part of what to expect is that they can't predict exactly what will happen.
Mhm.
um, but so the the actual experience itself, I felt like they took really good care of me. They just I felt safe at all times. They were monitoring me and asking me questions
Oh,
every so often and reminding me of what it was I said I wanted to think about. Um, it was definitely a very positive. it, Let me take that back. It was an unpleasant experience to endure at the time, but I got a lot out of it. And I would definitely, I've thought about maybe doing it again. I did it maybe a year and a half ago, and I had a couple of follow-up sessions with the same therapist, and um, so their whole approach is do it one time, but milk it for all it's worth. Like be really prepared and follow up well. And I journaled about it and everything. So I came away with a really deep sense that yes, I I am in here. I know who I am. I'm not just lost and floating and taking my
Right.
identity from other people.
Well, that's
Um,
wonderful to hear.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
great.
The Nova Show did ketamine. They had somebody laying on a couch, and the therapist was with them. How long of a
yeah.
session is it?
So it was, if I remember right, so I was on a very comfortable couch sort of thing,
Yep, that's what
and
Nova showed. Yeah.
they had a blanket over me,
Yes.
and they gave me a special
Yes,
eye
that's what they
mask
did.
that was
Same thing.
super
Yeah.
dark,
That,
and it was specially made so it would absorb tears if I cried. I think I didn't cry, but they said a lot of people do. And they had very soft music playing, and she had part of what we had done in preparation was worked out of a kind of a soundtrack that would be music that I had never heard before, but that was
That's what I
similar
had
to
was
things that.
specific soundtracks. Yes.
Yep,
really?
yep.
Incredible.
And I love the soundtrack that they came up with
Hmm.
um, for me.
Wow.
I love it. And I feel really emotionally connected to that music now. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, and I remember at the time the music was just amazing. Um,
Yeah.
and the best I can describe what I saw was kind of, you know how if you close your eyes in the sunlight, you see kind of patterns, things moving
Yes.
around, and sometimes so it was like that. It had depth to it, and kind of a texture, like softness, and
Wow.
it was so parts of it were really pleasant. Sorry, your question was how long a session was it? I think from the they had me keep the lozenges under my tongue for 5 minutes or something like that, and
Yeah.
they
It
they
took
gave me
me 12 minutes, I think, was for mine,
maybe it
but
was 10. I don't remember. But I forgot to mention they had me take, I forget if it was Pepto Bismol or something kind of an anti-nausea thing
hmm.
first, a few minutes beforehand, and so I didn't have any nausea. Um, and so have the lozenges for however many minutes, and then lie down and get comfortable with the blanket and the mask and all that. Actually, I had the mask first, and I was already on the bed. Um, it was all about safety and everything. Um, and then I think the whole session, the entire thing, start to finish, including checking me out medically beforehand and afterwards, to be sure that I could walk and wasn't dizzy and all that,
Hmm.
um, was something like an hour and a half.
That's
And
it. Wow.
yeah, and they gave me an option at some point, maybe 45 minutes in or something, that if I wanted, they could give me a kind of a booster dose if I wanted to extend the time period. And I chose not to do that because the sensations I was feeling, it was like I was, I felt like I was at the bottom of the ocean and kind of being pressed down, and like I couldn't move, and I was kind of being tumbled around, and my head was being
Hmm.
bent into different shapes, and it was very disorienting, which I kind of knew to expect though, so it wasn't
Hmm.
bad from that standpoint. Um, and I remember one time thinking, can I move? Am I really paralyzed? And I found that I could move a finger or a toe if I really thought about it. So, it was definitely disorienting, um,
Yeah.
but I absolutely felt safe. So I would
Wow.
say
Okay. That's good to
anybody who's
hear.
interested, and if you're interested, find a
Yeah.
reputable clinic that will take good care of you and really shepherd you through the process.
Okay. Thank you so much
Oh,
for sharing that.
oh, sure. And one last thing, the ketamine itself, I had to pay for out of pocket, but all the sessions were covered by my insurance.
Oh, nice.
So it was not as, crazy expensive. I would love to do psilocybin. That same clinic is doing trials right now, I think, for psilocybin.
That's what I'm trying to get into. I'd like to get into a
Mhm.
study like that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
at least it's a drug I know and I feel safe on it.
yeah. I haven't. I'm what Tommy would call a normie. I have no substance. My substance of choice is sugar.
Yeah, me too. Please. Please
but
don't go there.
but I do have mental health issues, and that's where I find the benefit in life. Anyway, I've
Thank you
gone
so
on and on, but
much.
I just wanted to say that when you said you haven't heard anybody with positive experience,
I
I wanted
haven't.
to jump in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
That's
Sure.
awesome.
That's really
Okay.
helpful. I appreciate
See
it.
everybody.
Okay, bye. That's really good. I know it's 6:01. We got to go, but there's a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I can answer this as quick as I can, and then you can email me. Wolfgang Production 7. The research that's going on right now with psilocybin, the active drug in mushrooms, magic mushrooms, says that it does help with people that have been doing heroin. But your daughter's got to want to quit, number one.
Yeah.
She's going to be a more difficult case because she's been doing it for over 2 decades. Doctors prescribe it during studies right now. So you have to find studies that do it. And they don't use it in rehab because you're in rehab to get off of drugs. Why would they give you, this is how they think in rehab.
Yeah.
Why would they give you a recreational drug? No. So the addiction field hasn't caught up yet. So the addiction field would frown upon giving somebody a drug to get off of a drug. But the research is amazing. So I'm really trying to find, Nevada is always behind on everything. But once I think we're about 5 years away from mushrooms becoming legal to do during therapy and have a therapeutic protocol. And at that point, I'm going to go for my license to do it. And I'd like to have the experience myself. I think it would be amazing.
I
So
would
hope
like
I
to do
answered
it
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter, my oldest, did it. It was therapeutic, but it was recreational at the same time. But it knocked her out of her marijuana abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, because she was doing it like 6-7 times a day, you know.
Oh,
And
mushrooms.
really helped her.
Mushrooms have helped me more than antidepressants.
Really,
I've used it when I'm depressed. I take it with an intent. I focus on that intent for 6 to 7 hours. It's about how long it lasts, and my depression goes away. So that's why I'm fascinated.
yeah, I have got a lot of friends that do it just microdose. And
they don't know the studies are macro doses, huge doses all at once. The Nova special showed some people taking microdoses every day. And a guy that grows in his house, he takes a little bit every day. And he says he had cancer and was very depressed. And now he's living with this cancer that hasn't gotten worse, and he feels great. And he microdoses. So I don't know. Watch that Nova special if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check into that. But thank you so much. We had better close, but thank you so much for coming on and for answering everybody's questions today. And this is always so interesting and entertaining at the same time. So
thank you. I really enjoy helping people. So this has made my day. This is my drug now, not drugs, but knowing that I helped someone today. I'm gonna cry. Knowing I helped somebody today, you guys.
Oh, you sweet lady.
So special. And we all need to feel that way. So instead of drugs, I get it through this connection with other people, and I love it.
That's what this whole channel's about, and we are so glad you're here. So again, thank you. Thank you everybody for being here today, and we will see you. Yeah, if I'm doing the show in the morning, show up in your sweatpants.
I will be there. I'll be in sweatpants, yoga pants, and a sweatshirt, and I'll be doing it.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. So take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye, guys.
See ya.